Hello, everybody. This is Don Markland with Accountability Now, and welcome to the Morning Jolt, where we give you small tidbits of data, inspiration, information to make better decisions today. It's a tactical podcast about making today better today. For today's podcast, we're continuing our Job Hunter series. This is part 3 of 4, and today is about the magic 4-step interview process. Yesterday, we talked about job hunting versus applying. I'm going to assume some people applied it. You're getting some interviews, and now what are you going to do? You're walking in, you're nervous, your palms are sweaty, and now you followed this 4-step interview process, and by the end of today's session, you're going to be equipped to get the job. Before we do, big thank you to all of our new subscribers and the people that are leaving 5-star ratings and testimonials. Thank you so much. Please, more people do that. That goes a long, long way. What is the 4-step interview process method? Let me just give you one little testimonial. I took one of my clients through this, and this is what they had to say. They left this review. I had the opportunity to work with Don for a new position, and I had not been on the job market for a long time. I knew I was rusty, and I sought out Don for help. He helped me put together my hero's journey storyline that clearly laid out my professional life and not just talking points. This storyline was logically laid out and truly afforded me the best vehicle to deliver the best of my professional and personal experience. I would strongly recommend him if you're looking for some career coach. I definitely would leverage these services again. That's a testimonial there just from this 4-step interview process. In a survey from Fast Company in 2019, they illustrated that more than half of all recruiters cite the number one trait they look for when finding a strong candidate is, quote, high potential. This includes problem skills, the willingness to learn, and the ability to make decisions. Further, Eric Wargo from psychologyscience.org, he suggests that people make their first impressions of you in the first 7 seconds. So now you've got some data, and you realize now you've got to demonstrate high potential, problem-solving ability, and the willingness to learn in 7 seconds. How do you do that? Well, let's jump into the 4-step interview process. Step number 1 is the meet and greet. This is all about asserting dominance and demonstrating that potential and letting them know you stand out from the crowd. You will be memorable in this interview. Number 1, be the alpha. Be the first to speak. It doesn't matter if you're walking into an office, if you're joining a phone call session, or if you're in quarantine and you're doing an interview over Zoom. Be the first one to speak. Don't wait. Hi, this is Don, or hi, is this Rebecca? Be the one. Be the first one to own the conversation. Demonstrate you are owning it, not in an aggressive way, not in a rude way, but in a confident way. Rule number 2, demonstrate your confidence. Remember, you have a great story to tell. I tell my clients, imagine as if you've already won the interview. They've already told you at the very beginning, hey, just so you know, you've already got the job. I just want you to go through the process for documentation purposes. If you already thought that way, you'd relax and you'd share your message. In this interview, you have everything to gain and nothing to lose. Rule number 3, if you're in person, shake their hand in a nice, firm way, or if over the phone, demonstrate early and genuine gratitude. I'd say this: thank you for this opportunity. I'm really excited to share some thoughts with you today and ideas about name the position and see if this is the right fit. That little statement is planting seeds that you feel good about the conversation today, feel confident of yourself in the role, and that you have a willingness to learn from them to see if there's a really strong fit for you with this organization. Now we're going to walk into step number 2 and start talking about your story. The number 1 question asked in an interview, this is shared on multiple sites, is tell me about yourself. I'm sure anybody that's done a job interview before has asked that question or received it. And I have seen this question blundered and messed up over and over again. When you are asked to tell me about yourself, don't just give a long list, job by job, of what you have done. This is boring and exhausted. You want to use this method, which is step number 2, the hero's journey. This is where you tell your story, but not exactly how you're thinking. I tell my clients, tell it like a superhero story, just like they do in the Marvel movies. You tell it at the beginning, like an origin story. Start at the beginning of your career somewhere where you talk about having some conflict, some challenge that you didn't know or you didn't have understanding of. Maybe you didn't know about leadership development or how to manage people or executive presence or sales skills. I don't care. Something, some conflict. Then, just like Peter Parker was bitten by a radioactive spider to develop superpowers, you had to learn. You had to develop new skills through something, through an event, through a person, through a boss. So you did. You got maybe a new job, a new career, a new course, an MBA, something, and you developed these new superpowers. And as you developed these new skills, you became the superhero you are today. You became this great new leader where you can do amazing things. And like Superman or Spider-Man can save lives, you as this leader or this manager or this salesperson or IT person, you can do all these things for organization. For example, and then you start to describe some of the amazing things you do on a regular basis. And then that leads you to here. And now I'm here to save you. You start to describe the position that you're applying for and why your superpowers fit this position. That little 3 to 4 minute story is a great example of taking advantage of a simple question and sharing your story and showing how you fit exactly into the role of the organization. It's magic. And it begins to connect you emotionally with the interviewees. And remember, stories are what connect you, not facts and numbers. It's stories. It's stories that sell. Now we're going to move into step number 3. This is where you move into the lob and volley portion of the interview, where they're going to lob over questions about your experience and your history, and you're going to volley back answers. And remember, it's back like we did with the hero's journey. All of your answers should be told in the form of a story. Never answer with yeses or nos. Answer in the form of, that reminds me of when I was insert story. Or that reminds me of how I did this here. And always answer every question they have with a short 1 to 2 minute story that demonstrates your ability to solve a problem or to do something amazing or memorable. You want to be careful to not be overly talkative or to be rambling, but you want to be crisp, but you want to demonstrate your ability to share your superpowers every time that you get. Now, before I move to the step number 4, the final step, you will have time to prepare for your interview. And I would encourage you to, for step number 2, on the hero's journey, and step number 3 with answering problems with stories, is to write up your script. Write them out. Write your hero's journey and memorize it. Write short little stories of answering to types of questions you might get in an interview and practice them. Role play them. Memorize them. Do them with your significant other or a brother or a sister and practice them so you know exactly what you're going to say so you don't ramble on. This way, when you get into the interview, you will nail it, just like an actor would in audition. Now let's move into the final step. This is where you ask dynamic questions. I hear people ask questions that are so wrong. They will ask questions like, well, how long is training? Or how much am I going to get paid? Those are not the right questions. Take advantage of this opportunity. This is where you get to stroke the ego and create an emotional experience of the interviewer. That is your goal. So consider questions that will make them feel good and remember you. So I encourage people to ask questions like, hey, you tell me, why are you working here? What do you love about this business? What do you think the next 2-year goal growth trajectory is going to be? Get them expressing their emotion, and then you build on it with a story or with your opinion or with your gratitude. That emotional connection will give you an even stronger ability to move in through the interview process and land the job. Those 4 steps, I'll put a recap of them in the show notes, are going to lead you to hiring success. I know it. I've seen it time and time again. Folks, unemployment, again, we've talked about it. It's 20% here in the United States. 33 million people have lost their jobs. We all know people that have been impacted by it, and it seems, even though some signs are showing it's getting better, also signs are showing it's getting a little worse. Let's continue to help each other. You can go to my website, accountabilitynow.net/LinkedIn download and get your free LinkedIn Power Profile Guide. And that's for anybody listening to the podcast. And then tomorrow we're going to cover mindset and follow-up. That is so essential. If you want more content, please leave a review. Subscribe on Apple or Spotify. You can follow me on Forbes, on Twitter at Don Markland, or Instagram, executivecoach.don. Go to my website, and you can also check out my company, the greatest digital marketing agency in the world, 411 Locals. And folks, this is your Morning Jolt.